I think as certainly as a cricketer, but most other sports as well, you kind of know when you're going to get dropped. You know if you're not performing, or you know if someone's performing better than you in another role, that they're going to come in. So that was probably the first time in my career where I was actually shattered, because I just did not see it coming. I certainly understood the reasons. They brought Ashton Agar in as a matchup to have two spinners against England, and also Ash bats as well. So it allowed him to bat at 7 and strengthen the bowling a bit, because their batting's phenomenal. So I understood the reasons. I just was obviously shattered, and it was the World Cup, and the World Cup, the way it's run, it's really quick. So you get dropped one game, it's like, oof, how am I getting back in here? So, but to be brutally honest with you, I actually was okay. I was upset that I wasn't playing, but I kind of think that everything that's happened throughout my career and my life, and all the lessons that I've learnt, I just accepted it. And I knew that if I got down in the dumps, then I wouldn't enjoy the rest of the World Cup. I wanted to be a good 12th man, which I've become bloody good at over the journey. And I was fine. I went to training the next day and got what I needed to do, and I kind of felt that I would come back in, so I didn't want to drop the ball completely. And it's totally fine to be angry and upset when you get dropped, just as long as you don't carry on like a muppet. So, I was fine, really, and ended up coming back in, which was bloody great.
Well, I think I was texting you around that time, and I'm not the world's biggest cricket fan, am I, Dan?
No,
Quite
the contrary.
Yeah, I don't. Well, anyway, there's a few things that irk me about the game, but I'm not going to get into it. But I watched you for that last period of that World Cup. I mean, you must look back on that, because I feel proud about the way you played, but you must look back at it as a having been through over a decade of in and out and injuries and ups and downs, to do something on the biggest stage. You play in some great games coming into the final. You play in the World Cup final, 77, I think.
Yep.
Oh, 50.
Right? Yep.
Man of the match, Norm Smith medal. I don't know if you can do much more than that. You must be proud of it.
Yeah, it was by far the best day of my career to date. The build-up throughout that whole year stems back to April in New Zealand, where we played a T20 series, and I had a bit of a stinker. I was batting at number 7 and number 8 even at times. They were sort of just experimenting with a few different lineups, and I had a mare, and I had a really great conversation with our now coach, Andrew McDonald. He was just really honest with me about he basically wanted me to learn to just go from ball 1. So 6 months out from the World Cup final, I had a conversation with him, and I went away and worked on just literally going from ball 1, not slogging from ball 1, but if a ball's in my area, hitting it for 6 from ball 1. And there's a lot that goes into that from a technical point of view and all that sort of stuff, but more so mentally.
Yeah.
Having the courage to walk out there and back my game to go, if that's there, I'm hitting it for 6. So I worked on that for 6 months. West Indies tour, Bangladesh tour was horrific, the worst wickets I've ever played on, so it cost me a bit of my strike rate. And we get to the World Cup, and it all sort of comes together in a World Cup final where, that first ball sort of went for 6, and the juices were flowing. That I still get a bit emotional about it, because there's just been so much that has gone into a moment like that, and it rarely happens where you get to
do it,
sort of achieve something like that. And it was just an incredible night. So
you tell me 6 months prior to that, you literally spoke about the thing that you did, which is hit the first 6, hit the ball at first, and then you hit the next 2 for 4.
Yep.
So you're sizzling.
Yeah, it was the juices were flowing. There's some good footage. I'm not sure it really does it justice, but I was obviously batting with Davey Warner, and I'm walking down the wicket, and I'm literally like punching his hand, like, come on, let's go. He was like, whoa, settle down, big boy. But I actually had to calm myself down a little bit, because you can really, if the juices start flowing, that's you try and hit every ball for 6, and more often than not you get out. So I had to sort of focus on my breathing a bit and make sure I was nice and calm. And then, the partnership with Davey really sort of sealed the game.